Well. Hello, family caregivers. Dr. Lana here. How is your week? How are you? We're talking money today. So it's going to be hot. But because money is such a big and complex and let's face it, a confrontational potentially issue, we're going to take it in three parts and the concept of being paid as a family giver. Can you? Should you? Should you charge your relatives? Those sort of little things. What is it about caregiving that persons may shy away from or think that they can't be charged for? Or they can't charge. And what is the cost? What is the burden? What is this definition of caregiver, not burden, responsibility? We're going to chat in part one, first of all, about why and how you can be and should be charged, paid, could be paid, guilt free for being a caregiver, a family caregiver. Now, if we haven't met before, I am Dr. Lana on Care and Thrive, and this channel is all for caregivers to find different ways, answer different questions, delve into the problems that you particularly have as a caregiver, but with a view, but all centered around self care. And when I do this, I mean the concept of we put our own oxygen mask on first to take care of ourselves, and you're then in a better position to take care of others. So, with that in mind, money. Do you have it? You find how it takes wings and fly. I wish I could see money in the air. I tell you, that would make a big difference. You think? But as family caregivers, I found some fun. Well, not many you might think, but a few sites and one interesting one in particular, which I would love to share with you if that's okay with you. And it's from Senior Link Caregiver Homes. Now, I will put that in the link below because I think it is so vital that family caregivers, one, not feel the guilt of, well, it's family, this is my dad, this is my mom, this is my spouse. I mean, how dare I? The pressure from family. How dare you? Your internal boiling system, like, I don't feel good doing this, but money, we can't go in the supermarket, go to the bank, pay bills with pumpkins, can you? Well, I don't know, not for sure where most people are from. That's for sure. So let's talk about the reality that caregivers are facing in this discussion on money. And let's just, although I am not a financier or by no means, I'm a medical doctor, gerontologist, passionate about caregivers. Any condition, any issues you wish to discuss concerning finances, please talk to a financier. This is just a guide and a little snippet and a little step into the reasons why. But are we going to go in deeper because it is going to be a bigger responsibility as the caregiver population explodes following the explosion of the number of older persons and the need for caregiving. So, how to become a caregiver for a family member? Well, isn't that a funny concept? You're going to charge your grandmother for taking care of you, who took care of you your whole life, mind you. And maybe it's been thrown into your hands. And you, with that beautiful heart of yours, have taken on the mantle. I say, put the cape on of doing this wondrous, heroic job, but also from your own heart. Let's face it, though, it is costly. Healthcare costs are escalating. Just the cost of medication is escalating. The cost and the time away. Time is money. If you have to take time away from work to do your caregiving, that's so significant, and that's time away from and money that you would have lost in your earnings. So what? Why should you? Just for that reason. I'll read a statistic here for you. It's like care. So facts. Let's just do with facts, and then we'll deal with the emotions afterwards. So because emotions can get all over the place, right? And this is from the American Association of Retired Persons. Really fantastic site. But they did a caregiving research in the US in 2020, but we can extrapolate it everywhere because if there's an older person and a caregiver and we're human, chances are we're in a similar predicament or a challenge. I don't like to say those deep, deep words. Says 1 in 5 caregivers report high financial strain because of the result of caregiving. 3 in 10, 30% have stopped saving. If you stop saving for yourself, what's going to be left for when you need a caregiver? 1 in 4 have taken on more debt, and sometimes more than they really need to, more than they can afford, honestly. I have I've personally witnessed the you could say financial bankruptcy of a caregiver who actually spent the time, who actually used their money for their relative, and then they tragically got ill. I think it was a heart attack or something, not like big demise, but something that they needed the money for, but it was already in the caregiving. And even though there were people around, there was no one to help, and it was a really huge financial burden. And it took a toll on their further health, and they died just from the stress of it all and the lack of finances. So that it's not something to take lightly. So we're going to discuss the why you should, the statistics behind it. Therefore, you can see the importance and value of caregivers, family caregivers. And then we'll go into part two. We're going to talk about the money, the earning potential you can have. And part three, we'll talk about the resources that you can use. Okay? All right. So the facts are that's the reality of it. So you may have to take, some have had to take time away from work, some have had to cut time, some have had to take early retirement, some have had to take out another mortgage out from their house. And many caregivers say, but there were 4 or 5 or 6 of us. Why is it just me? So that feeling of you want to help, but the burden is there. The load is on you. Maybe too much to handle. So therefore, should you get rid? Another fact, and it says, according to the same American Association of Retired Persons report, family caregivers spend about 20%. So not only are you losing, you're not spending more of the cost for caregiving. Where are you finding this money? The tree? I don't have a tree. If you have a tree, let me know, please, because I'd like to come and I'm gonna take some and let others know as well and plant some more. Um, so why? If it is a job, it becomes a lifetime job, doesn't it? It is a lifetime heart job. So if it's a job, then shouldn't you be paid? You have to do let's think of it. You got to do the garbage. You got to arrange medical appointments. You have to arrange medication. You have to go do your own work. You will have to organize your own self-care time. Remember, your self-care time is so important, and you must fit it in. You have organizing nutritious meals. If you have children, organizing their things, being present for you, being present for your children, being present with your loved one or spouse, whoever you're taking care of, to keep that family interconnection going. because it's such a beautiful thing to be with your older relative. They have so much to give. They've given so much. They really deserve it. But honestly, it can be a big pressure. And the financial thing is being taken for granted still after all these years. Persons just assume that family caregivers, oh well, they're just in your house, or you can just drop off some food for them. Nah, it's more than that. It actually has a definition. It used to be called caregiver burden, but you can imagine, you already feel bad enough. To add that as an official expression can lend to a sense of hopelessness. So thankfully, the term has now been modified to caregiving responsibility. And basically what it means, there's a whole math term for it, mathematical formula for it. So like how many people are there to take care of the old one versus how many there are to be taken care of, multiplied by how much you make, multiplied by the cost. And therefore, there's money involved. You're taking away, you're making a sacrifice. There's money involved. So the emotions and the whys in this part one, yes, definitely. Family caregiving has been the further research is suggesting, obviously, the more persons that are to take care of others and are withdrawing their own income and taking away from their own savings, and older persons whose money may not, even if it's pension, even if it's state owned, even if it's state sponsored, it will have a limited stretch. And if something happens that adds to a health issue, it's going to be a bigger stretch. You have to have good nutritious meals on board. Food prices are going up, have gone up. Have you checked the cost of one carrot lately? It's like $5. Well, depending on where you are, it could be even more. So let's think about it. Do you deserve it? Absolutely. How can you do it with it being a guilt-free, less complex problem? We'll talk about that later. But there is money in caregiving. Let's think about we'll count the charges. I'll just leave you with the amount. Just think about this. If you were to be paid as a primary caregiver, and this is per month, huh? This is per hour. There is I'll get the cost now. The cost is, here we go. The cost can run between nine. So in another research in 2013, the time that a caregiver spends, the cost per year, you want to listen to this? $470 billion a year for family caregivers. That's what, for those who donate their time, those who give their time for free, where is that money going to go? How are you going to find it? But there's a cost to it. Doctors, nurses, professionals, people, they're all charged. And nobody seems to have a problem with it. But somehow charging family, that's an issue. Where are you going to get the money from? Do you see the I know and I understand there is this pull or resistance to, should I charge? Where am I going to get the money from? Should I charge? Where am I going to get the money from? But think about that, $470 billion a year. That's for the thousands. If you break it down even further, it's going to be for the average caregiver, about $7,000 out of your pocket. This is per year. What about emergencies? So now everything has to be canceled. Vacations got to be canceled if you had them. Family projects may have to be canceled. You reduce your savings on retirement. You curb your spending on yourself. You may eat less nutritious foods, increasing your risk for heart disease and high blood pressure and stroke and all that. Plus the stress of the caregiving, plus the feeling of loneliness and helplessness that you may have with this responsibility. This is not to daunt you. This is just to highlight that you have value. Caregivers are valuable, whether they are valued, and whether we and you as caregivers can actually gain and sustain an income from caregiving, that we'll talk about later. But for now, please know you are worthy of it. It is a job, it is a full time, hard job, but it is a job. And therefore, consider not preaching or not trying to change anything, and everything in different countries is going to be different. And we'll talk about that. But just know that your caregiving matters. Your money earning potential matters. You matter. And one aspect of self care has to be financial stability, or at least financial, not rocky situation. So the thousands of dollars we just met works out to be in like, $90 a day. It can be up as much as that. Would you pay somebody $90 a day to take care of your loved one? So why can't you earn that little bit? There's a whole lot more to it depending on the country you're in. Consider that. Consider that it helps in the long run. So we're gonna look at next in part two some practical tools and resources, and in part three, resources that you can find. But I hope you found this helpful to just know that you are worth it. You're worth to be paid. You There's no shame, there's no disgrace. There should be no one putting pressure on you to take on this massive load that sometimes requires teams of people. And you're doing it on your own with your own little resources that you have, and sometimes alone. Well, one, you're not alone. Two, this channel is to give you some insights and tips in how you cannot be alone. And three, you are valued. You deserve to earn. How? We'll talk in part two. Thank you so much. If you found this helpful, leave in the comments below. Tell me, do you think you should be paid? That's a big debate. Do you think, oh, no, 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 mom did this, dad did this, spouse did this for you. You should find the money from somewhere, pray and ask God to send it for you, and don't say nothing. As we say in my country, don't say nothing about it. Just grin and bear it. No, you don't have to grin and bear it. So until then, till next time, you deserve to be paid. Caregivers work a fantastic job, and deserve the worker deserves his wages. That's what the Bible says. So just have that in mind as a reassurance. I hope it is a reassurance and you found this helpful. If you did, and you're exhausted and you want to just dive in and find a little bit more on the overall self-care, well, you can join me in a course and program, and we can go through that together. In the meantime, know you're valued and you deserve it. Until then, bye bye. Have a fantastic weekend.